So this is seeing many Canadians turn into credit cards or lines of credits to help supplement their daily living. But how sustainable is this? In fact, this practice is just putting them into deeper and deeper debt.
Like, subscribe, and share to Voices of Linden TV.
Hello, lovely folks. Welcome to another Money Minute episode. I'm Ingrid B. Clayton. I'm going to talk about a topic that is at the forefront of most people's mind today. Which debt might be more beneficial to hold on to right now? Or perhaps which debt should I get rid of right now, right? Okay, we're currently living in an economic climate with high inflation, high interest rate, but low performance in the stock market. How fair is that? Isn't that ironic? Shouldn't everything be high? Well, we do know that's not how it goes, right? And it doesn't matter which pay grade you're at. In this current economic climate, you have likely experienced a dramatic decline in your cash flow from March 2022 to December 2022. And I stopped at December 2022 because that was the last interest rate hike before the recording of this episode. Those who are currently servicing debts, whether it be mortgages, credit cards, or lines of credit, feel they're either being pushed to their limit or are already over their limit. If you have a variable rate mortgage, for instance, depending on your bank and your mortgage balance, your monthly payments have perhaps doubled or close to being doubled by now. Or your bank might have sent you a letter that your trigger rate is either close or you're over your trigger rate. I know I got one of those letters for one of my rental properties. I wasn't over my trigger rate, but I was really approaching it. And if you're not in this position and you don't know what trigger rate means, the trigger rate is the interest rate where your mortgage payments are just sufficient to cover your monthly mortgage interest. So no money is left over to go towards paying down your mortgage balance. Here's a little kicker. About 2 weeks ago, I was at a meet where my coworker exclaimed that only $50 is going towards my mortgage balance. Now, imagine having a mortgage of, say, $400,000 with only $50 going towards that $400,000. Now, 50 times 12 is 600. So, after 1 year, your mortgage balance would be like $399,400. A little less for sure, since it's reducing balance, but really, how much less? Now, let's say you have a mortgage term of about 4 years remaining, and the interest rate remains the same, and that is being generous, right? Because we may see another hike. 400 times 4, sorry, not 400, what was it? 600. 600 times 4 is $2,400. So, after 4 years, your new mortgage would be a bit under $397,600. Not much of a reduction in your mortgage, is it? Now just imagine if interest rate increases further during the 4 years. It would be as if you hadn't changed your mortgage balance at all after the 4 years. By the way, have you looked at your grocery bills lately? Or have you been checking out the number of grocery bags you have been taking home for the same amount of money spent? It keeps decreasing. It's like every time I go to the grocery store, okay, I don't go to the grocery store that much. My husband mostly goes. But when I see the bill and what he brings in, it's ridiculous. It is so bizarre that things could change so drastically in such a short time span. And sadly, incomes are not really keeping up with cost of living. It's not, unless you're one of the lucky ones. I know mine isn't. So this is seeing many Canadians turn into credit cards or lines of credits to help supplement their daily living. But how sustainable is this? In fact, this practice It's just putting them into deeper and deeper debt. With this current state of the economy, most people are betting that interest rate will decrease because something gotta give. And I agree that something gotta give. But what if change is not as close on the horizon as many are predicting? What if interest rate remains high for the next couple of years? Then what? For those who are servicing multiple debts, a recurring question that may plague them every month is, which debt is more beneficial to eliminate right now? Or perhaps, which debt is better to hold on to right now? I say the fixed low interest rate loans are worth holding on to right now because the interest on these loans will remain the same with interest rate hikes. For instance, if you have a fixed rate mortgage and you were making intermittent prepayments, mortgage prepayments, are doubling up your payments each month because you wanted to be mortgage free faster, perhaps you could scrap the prepayments or the extra payments now and use that money to invest in even a GIC that gives a higher rate of return than your mortgage interest. Or if you have credit card debt that is undoubtedly at a higher interest rate than your mortgage, perhaps at 20% or even higher, it's definitely more beneficial to pay off that credit card debt. Even though your obligation for the credit card may be low, don't buy into the bank scam and subscribe to the minimum payment gimmick because that is how they trap you. So your credit card is no longer an asset, giving you interest free money to use, but becomes a liability, charging you interest 24/7, 365 days of the year. Not to mention the additional fees that they tack onto the interest that no one can ever explain. There was one time, we missed a payment by a couple of days, and I called them that, you know what, we've been a good paying customer, so you need to reverse that interest. And they were nice to return it, to reverse the interest. And there was this additional fee that they tack onto it too. And I said, well, you need to return that fee. And, yeah, they were generous. They say, yeah, we've seen Mrs. Clayton. We've seen that. Yeah, you're a great customer. So we'll do this one-time reverse. But then I was curious and I said, well, how do you calculate that extra fee? They couldn't tell you. They couldn't explain it. Just a fee. They said the system determined the fee, whatever. Well, I myself used to make prepayments to my mortgage because one of my long term goals for more than a decade ago was for my principal home to be mortgage free by the time I'm 50 years old. While it's okay for my investment properties to have a mortgage because the interest is tax deductible, as the mortgage interest on my principal home is not tax deductible, I decided that I needed to reduce the amount of mortgage interest that I pay as soon as possible because I much prefer to keep the interest in my pocket than giving it to the bank. However, while this is a goal that I can certainly achieve, as my mortgage is up for renewal soon, I decided to put the brakes on my mortgage prepayments and invest that money to realize some additional cash flow. Another example of a fixed rate loan could be your student loan. Perhaps you have been paying much more because you wanted to clear off your student loan fast. And if you're like me back in the days when student loans was the first and only debt that I had, and I wanted to free myself from that debt as fast as I could, I get it. I really get it. My father-in-law, God bless his heart, helped me to make that happen much sooner than I anticipated. Or perhaps I should say the bank rep. But if you don't have a fairy godfather, father-in-law like I have, who paid off my loan after the bank rep was insolent one month when he went to pay, make the payment for me, then putting the brakes on paying it off may be more beneficial right now. Again, you could invest that extra money to get a higher rate of return now, or you could pay off your credit card debt instead, like I said above. So the lesson here is to pay only the minimum obligation on your low fixed interest rate loan. But pay off the high interest ones, like your credit cards, now. And that's if you're able to, because I know everybody is feeling the economic crunch, so you may not be able to, but you can definitely pay it down faster. And if you have no credit card debt or high interest loans, do invest the extra money for higher rates of return. This is definitely a better financial strategy that will save you some money, increase your cash flow, and might even increase your net worth in the long run. So, this is where I will take my leave today. Thank you for sticking with me. Until next time, do walk good. Bye.